Global positioning, why it matters. Hey, Chris, I got Media Options, help companies to acquire the raw version of the brand. Brokers the best domains on the planet. Check that out over at MediaOps.com. Check out ChrisZuiker.com. Check out our blog. Check my YouTube. Check out my podcast. Check out all that good information. We do a lot of information. Domain Sherpa is great. I'm doing a new series with James Isles on off the market forever. I think it's pretty cool. It's just taking a little different twist on into domaining, and not necessarily from the investor standpoint, but like from the branding standpoint, like why it matters. And we kind of go over my thoughts and like some really cool articles from James. He does a great job. Check that out. Anyways, global positioning matters. It matters for, I would say for the buyer types, okay? Definitely for the buyer. Like the hobbyist doesn't matter, okay? If you're familiar with my 5 buyer types, it's hobbyist, and hobbyist is someone that just like, hey, it's a hobby, right? So I use the example of the guy renting surfboards at Waikiki Beach. Listen, guy doesn't need a domain name. I think he actually has one when I looked it up last time. He's got some kind of site there, but he doesn't need it. You show up, you're like, hey, I want to rent a surfboard. The guy's over there. He's like, hey, $10. You rent this surfboard that's like 20 years old. Now, this was my experience years ago when I lived there. That's a hobbyist, okay? Then from there you go to the solo entrepreneur, and kind of like your local company. They do need a domain name, but it's not as it's just a different twist, right? They're not going to spend a lot of money because the return on investment is not as much, okay? But they will spend, sometimes $7,000 to let's say $15,000 on a domain name. Then from there you go to your national and your regional, small regional business, and maybe kind of comes into the sole entrepreneur, and they'll spend a little bit more for a domain name. Maybe it's like a statewide or a couple of statewide, to my businesses. Think like builders, contractors. Think insurance agents. Realtors, but I didn't say realtors. Maybe it's an auto mechanic shop. I don't know. Along those lines. Then from there you go to Bible and Scalable, and then you go to the high rev entrepreneur, right? Who's like it's like plug and play, like bloop, put it in here, okay, revenue, right? It's like they got this model down. They've got the infrastructure and employees down that they can take an asset like a great domain name, and they can just like plug it in and like it's moving, right? It's moving. So global positioning is very important. Now, global positioning is owning the global position for your brand among all the 45 trademark classes. Now, here's why it's important, okay? Now, obviously, it gets more important as you scale up, okay? It's super important, but it's also important, really kicks in is like that second buyer class is coming up to like the national and the regional and the legacy. I forgot to mention legacy in there. Legacy business owner, right? And this global position is like, how do you break through the noise? So I use the example of Kraken and Kraken Rum, right? Kraken.com, okay, the Kraken crypto exchange owns and dominates the global position for Kraken. Now, Kraken Rum has spent a lot of money. I would love to know how much money they spent. I know that it was like $13 to $15 million in the first year in marketing, and you fast forward, they spent a lot of money. I'm sure it's great rum. I haven't tried it, or lately. I do need to try that. But they don't even show up, right? All their marketing is direct response marketing. Like it comes in and it goes out. Now, if you had to rewind it, would they have bought it? I think they would have bought it now, knowing like there's no long tail for the marketing, right? It's global positioning. Now, in some industries, in some verticals, in some, this is just like expounded exponentially. And I'm gonna try to look for some examples here that I can share. Okay, but there's, probably if you look at it from an insurance standpoint, you'll see that there's just lots of confusion. If you look at it from a builder standpoint, and this is it was a conversation I had that was centered around this, and it kind of is helping me to develop a different framework for when I talk to that regional, legacy, and national type business owner. It's like, how do you brand, right? Global positioning. Now, it was like their brand they were going after. They're looking for a rebrand. It was like a one-word domain. And it represented the mission and the ethos for what they were like, what they wanted their brand to represent. Okay, like it really connected to their product. And then they were going to, because they couldn't it just didn't make sense for them to buy that. Like the raw version, it would have been like 6 figures, 7 figures, just didn't make sense. Like, okay, what can we add on to this? Okay, and so it's like design, building, contractors, you name it. And, it's like add on, and there was like one word, and it was 2 words because the one word was taken, and, all the different extensions were taken. And so they were looking to like continue to add on to this, to the domain name to match their brand. And I said, well, okay, let's just stop here, right? Global positioning, type it in and see how many, what the noise is out there. And it was astounding. Like there was a lot of companies, probably 5 to 10 companies out there in the same field, different states, that had like kind of the same feel, like almost the exact same feel, almost the exact same brand. And I was like, you see the problem here. The problem is that the amount of money you have to put in just to say, hey, go over here, not over there, right? And as word of mouth spreads, like they're gonna have to get that exact. Let's say they have to search it, and they search it. How are they gonna know who's you? They're gonna literally have to go through like 7 companies to find you, right? And that's asking a lot. I mean, I hear it. People say, hey, well, we are. They say, we're word of mouth, right? Well, is word of mouth. Listen, so is Media Options. Like we're word of mouth as well. A lot of our business comes through referrals just because we're good at what we do. We're the best at what we do. Like say, we're very successful. We've got like maybe 89% success rate getting in touch with owners to at least getting prices, get a conversation going. Okay, what moves beyond the next level is a different story. But you don't want to rely on that. Like you don't want to rely on this massive confusion for your customers to find your brand. And that's why I think, in this situation, like if you're on that lower tier, sometimes it makes sense to go. Now, I'm not a big fan of brandables that just like made up words. I'm just not a big fan of that. I think you got to put a lot of money behind it. I'll tell a story when I was at Timex later on, because I'm going long here, but it was like, they're experts at Target Corporation stores, experts at branding. And anyways, you got to put a lot of money into that. And do you have the money to put into that to create that brand? It's very difficult. Like you end up paying for it, right? There's a reason why you buy a one-word domain name, because you capture immediately the wind and the momentum behind that word, and then you can pull that into your brand equity and pull that into your mission or ethos, and it just makes your brand so much more impactful, okay, versus trying to like continually to make it something for yourself, okay. By digressing, so yeah, I don't like those, but what I do like is maybe it's like 2 words, okay? It's like 2 words, but these 2 words represent a unique brand, okay? So like yellow, maybe it's like, yellow rock, red rock, something along those lines that can, that allow you to still kind of keep the essence of something, but at the same point, you're differentiated, and if someone searches you, they can find you, and you probably get a good trademark on that as well. But you really want to differentiate that, and you want to steer. And just my experience, right? There's a time and a place. Okay, depend upon what you have. To have a descriptor, and a descriptor would be like it would be your brand. Let's say it's quilt, and then it's design, or let's say it's quilt insurance, or quilt whatever. Okay, you can go to quilt.com. It's available for sale. Awesome, amazing brand. Tremendous win behind that one. Or buy or try or get, okay, that I don't know, that's not really a descriptor, but it's just like an add-on, it's a filler, okay, it's a filler because you can't get that. So there's like these different ways that brands look to brand. My thoughts, I kind of am seeing like thousands and thousands, probably look at, 30 to 50 websites a day as we're like reaching out to companies, is, try to differentiate it that way, okay, there's a lot of great domains that are out there that are well priced that you can get for that. But global positioning is very important, especially at the scale you want to capture that global positioning. To me, I love the story of Carrot.com. I think they just did an amazing job. You look at the domains we brokered, and the companies that sell it, like they own the global position. They own it forever. They own, and every other company is going to pay a fee to them. Okay, this halo effect, because they'll be driving traffic to them. They're going to say, don't go over here, which by default is like, okay, well, hey, what's over there, right? This natural curiosity that we have. Anyways, long video. Hope you enjoyed it. Go on over to chriszuiker.com. Okay, share this up and just think about the global position. Okay, there's 7 dimensions to why domain name impacts your brand, and one of those is global positioning.